This is Michael Flynn. If you're unfamiliar, he got himself in some legal hot water. He's being prosecuted by the U.S. government for a while. Flynn pleaded guilty to one felony count of willfully and knowingly making materially false statements and omissions to the FBI about conversations with the Russian ambassador to the U.S., Sergei Kislyak, in violation of 18 U.S.C. So basically what happened was, from my understanding, if I remember correctly, Obama placed sanctions on Russia because they did something that they didn't like. I don't remember now. Maybe they attacked Ukraine back in 2014. And Flynn basically told Russia, don't react, don't do anything. When Trump gets into power, which is inevitable, we're going to lift those sanctions. He's basically negotiating on behalf of a future president, thus undermining a previous president. It was a big deal, a really big deal. Plus, if I remember correctly, he was taking money from a foreign country in trade for something else. I don't even remember. I think it was Turkey that he was working with. Anyway, he got pardoned by Donald Trump, and he shouldn't have been, honestly. He's an absolutely terrible person, and he should not be walking around a free man. He shouldn't. But here we are. He's running a conference, a pro-Trump conference, of course, called Reawaken America, the Reawaken America Tour. So I wanted to watch a couple of clips from him because I got a voicemail about him recently. Check this clip out. He's wearing a shirt that says General Flynn. Oh, he's wearing a shirt that with his own name on it. Does it get more conceited than that? Anyway, listen to this one. It's pretty recent.
I'm seeing all these people with, T-shirts that say Jesus is King, or some people have crosses. I can see a bunch of people with crosses on their T-shirts. They fear us. They fear this Make America Great Again. They fear those that say America first.
And who is they in his mind? People like me. He thinks that I fear America first, make America great again, and stuff like that. Well, yeah, I guess you could say that because they're domestic terrorists. So, yeah, sure. Agreed. Yeah, definitely. I do. I fear domestic terrorists. I don't know what he accomplished with that.
Fear God Almighty.
I don't fear God. I fear extremists who come in God's name.
And when we make noise, we got to make it comes from your spiritual gut. And we want people around this country to know that we are not giving up. God chose us. We chose God. This country is going to be just fine. But we have got to get involved. When Stella's up here, she is just sharing.
Wow, dude. Yeah, that's Michael Flynn. He is completely disconnected from reality. Listen to the voicemail I got about that specific clip. Like I said, make note of the fact that he had his own name on his shirt. Check this out.
Hey, Owen, this is Chris from Montana, a longtime fan. Love what you're doing. Just wanted to respond real quick. I saw your video recently about General Flynn wearing a shirt with his own name on it. The one thing it reminded me of was the 1960s Batman show. And they always had the Stooges, the henchmen of the supervillain, always had their names on their shirts. And they did the same thing in the Spirit movie with Samuel Jackson. His henchmen had the name on their shirts. So it seems to be like an evil stooge kind of trope. So just thought I'd toss that in there. Thanks a lot. Love your stuff. Bye.
That's weird. I didn't even realize. That's pretty funny. An evil villain trope. I wonder if he's playing that up on purpose. Probably not, right? Because Flynn believes himself to be the good guy in most situations, I assume. I mean, no way of knowing for sure. Check this one out. This is Michael Flynn at the Reawaken America Tour. Another one recently.
Is this a spiritual awakening? You bet it is. There is a spiritual war and there is a political war. And they are going on. They're going on in this country right now. God actually didn't choose America. God chose Israel. America chose God.
Okay, America chose God. They're about to play music. I'm not going to let them play music because yeah. Look at this shirt this person has on. Jesus is my savior, I think it says. Trump is my president. Jesus Christ, dude. These people have deep problems. Deep, deep problems. Check this one out. This one is from last year, I think.
And they're talking about the United States of America. Talking about the United States of America, because when Matthew mentioned it in the Bible, he wasn't talking about the physical ground that he was on. He was talking about something in the distance. So if we are going to have one nation under God, which we must, we have to have one religion, one nation under God and one religion under God, right? All of us together, working together.
God, dude, this guy wants a Christian nationalist state. That is obviously what he's shooting for. And that is deeply disturbing. He's also a leader in the QAnon movement. He is well known in the QAnon movement. That makes him even more disturbing. The guy has problems, honestly.
Yes, this is Heath from Central New York. I think I got cut off. But I'll make this quick. Just want to know what your thoughts were about Boebert or Boebert, whatever her name is.
Boebert, yeah.
Having that office in Colorado, along with the unfortunate shooting of the gay club that got hit, and her saying, "Oh, my thoughts and prayers go to the families," which I'm glad people called her BS. But if you get this twice, you don't have to play it twice, obviously. But again, I like your work. Please keep up whatever you're doing. It's great. I love it. Again, have a good one.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I actually talked about Boebert and the Colorado situation that happened at Club Q not too long ago, and sadly, she played herself up to be a victim. The thoughts and prayers stuff, I didn't hear that she said that. At least she said that her thoughts and prayers were going to be with the families who lost people at the club, unlike many others in that situation, like, for example, Matt Walsh, who basically said, if you don't want this to continue to happen, then stop being gay in public. Stop being trans in public, and then it'll stop happening. That's straight up terrorist thinking right there, is what that is. And it's so, so disturbing that this is the headspace that they're in. It just blows me away, honestly. Anyway, after Boebert came out and said the thoughts and prayers stuff, she turned herself into a victim and came out there. She said she was sick of being labeled as like the source of any of this, or she's sick of hearing that it's her fault that this kind of thing happens, when it most definitely is. Although, as far as I know, nobody told her that it was specifically her fault. Maybe after she came out with her stupid, useless thoughts and prayers they did. It just blows me away that she could turn herself into the victim of any situation, just like Trump. Taking cues from Trump, right?
Yo, what's up? This is Aaron from Louisiana. I've been a long-time viewer of yours. I have been wondering, I'm a little concerned, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this, about the Supreme Court hearing. I think it's the South Carolina case of this independent state legislature theory, where basically if it gets approved by the Supreme Court, we could see states just completely overturning federal elections if they don't like how they turned out. So yeah, I just want to get your thoughts on that. And yeah, have a good day. Hope you're having a good Thanksgiving. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I appreciate it. This is actually a pretty relevant and consequential decision that the Supreme Court is about to make. For this Supreme Court, I always assume they're going to make the wrong decision. So I'm going to assume that this is going to go the wrong way for democracy. That being said, there's a cultural value in the United States among many people, especially among non-MAGA extremists. Even in the Republican Party, if they're not MAGA people, there is a value and an appreciation for democracy. Just because it's possible to do it, I deeply doubt that it's going to be done. I deeply doubt any states are going to take advantage of it unless we're in a really, really messed up situation, like for one state, maybe. It is going backwards with progress. It's moving us backwards. That is true. But I don't think anybody is going to actually implement it or use that law or that, the precedent that the Supreme Court sets. Not anytime soon, anyways, in my opinion. But you know what? We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. There was a lot of talk about net neutrality a few years ago, whenever that was, 6 years ago maybe, that the internet was going to be capable of charging you for websites that you visit, like their cable packages. And that's true. That's what the net neutrality bill was trying to prevent. And they completely erased that. They opened the door for that to be a possibility, that they would charge you for websites like they were cable packages. They have the option of doing that right now. But if you notice, they never actually did it. Culturally, that would have been a killer for basically any ISP if they'd actually gone ahead and done something like that. There's little that we could have done to stop it, but we could have protested the hell out of that ISP. And in the same vein, I don't think that this is going to be a problem, at least not for the foreseeable future. So I wouldn't sweat it. It's concerning that we're moving backwards that way. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just keep chugging along, working your best, doing everything you can, because that's all you can do is your best. That's it. Do your best and don't worry about the rest.
Hey, Owen, Guy Young, Brookfield, Illinois. I applaud all these student debtors who are not going to pay their debts off. Okay? Not like the people who own
student debtors. He applauds the student debtors who are not going to pay their debts off. Okay?
Not like the people who own their debts are going to starve. They've got plenty of money. It's predatory. Okay? It's like you're paying, like that one song when it says you just bought a new car and that profit he made off your jeans. Okay? Screw them. Don't pay it. Okay? That money that they owe is going to ruin their lives. Okay? If you try to pay it, you'll never get out of debt. So I would just, because it's predatory. Tough crap. Too bad. I'm all for him. I'm behind him 100%.
That's an interesting point. I didn't hear that there were people out there who were basically protesting student loans by refusing to pay for them. You're absolutely right. These debt companies are not going to suffer. They're not going to go starving, but somebody who has to pay their student loans very well might. So 100% agree with you that, they shouldn't have to pay this stuff. That being said, the system is set up in such a way that it will ruin somebody's life if they don't pay that debt. Your credit rating goes through the floor, and it takes 10, 15, 20 years to fully recover your credit rating after doing something like that. Refusing to pay the debt. You'll never recover your credit rating, ever, until that debt is paid. And if you don't have a good credit rating, you won't be able to rent an apartment, you won't be able to buy a house, you won't be able to get a credit card or do absolutely anything at all ever for the rest of your life. So it's very, very crippling, trust me, to have bad credit. I have terrible credit, almost non-existent credit, but the little credit that I do have is bad because I was irresponsible with money when I was younger because I didn't have any. And I've just never bothered to try to fix it. I don't really care that much because I don't need to, but many, many others do need to and are going to have a really hard time digging out of the hole. So if they can make it work for them, that's great, but a lot of people won't be able to because the system is built in such a way that it intentionally cripples anybody who doesn't pay their debts, basically, unfortunately.
Hi, my name is Daniel Slack. I live in Maine, and I am a Christian, but I do love listening to your channel. Isn't it possible that the sins that Jesus died for was for the apostles and his followers not to be killed by the Romans because they were rounding up people that were threatening terrorism to, bring down Rome and have Israel become its own leadership, I guess? Anyway, I was just wondering about that.
Yeah, interesting. I hadn't really thought about it. Maybe Jesus was just trying to forgive the sins of his immediate circle and not everybody. I don't know. I think generally Christianity as an institution believes that Jesus was trying to forgive the sins of everybody, not just his immediate circle. As far as a literal reading of the text, I'm not sure if it would imply that or not. But something that Jehovah's Witnesses tend to get confused on is the difference between sin and crime. You don't want to confuse the two. They're very different. A sin is something that is basically like a moral failing in the eyes of the Bible. A crime is a legal failing where you have wronged somebody, for example. It's a problem that Jehovah's Witnesses confuse the two because they're trying to set up their own government. Jehovah's Witnesses are. And by mixing the two, by intertwining them, they basically punish people for little things that are irrelevant and inconsequential. And they don't report serious things to the authorities who should know about it, like CSA and things like that. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about it a little bit more, look into what the Bible has to say about it. But I appreciate the voicemail. Thank you guys so much.